Good afternoon. There we go. I'm Morton Orlov. I'm the president of the Massachusetts Math and Science Initiative, and it's an incredible honor for me to host today both the state announcement of our results and the national announcement of the results for school year 10-11. The Math and Science Initiative is now entering into our 4th year, and we are proud to have 53 schools in the program as we begin the school year. And there's a great map somewhere around here. I've lost track of it. I don't know where the map went to, but for those of you that have one of our folders, if you pull out your packet, you will find the map that really shows you the incredible geographic imprint or footprint that we've been able to establish across the state. And what I would encourage is where you see a gap that you speak to your colleagues around the state and to your legislators. There, Pete Cushing has got, thanks, this is my guy from Narragansett helping me out. So there's the great map that I was referring to. But as you can see, a wonderful footprint around the state. And I'm also proud to note that we have literally every type of high school. We have large urban, small urban, suburban, in between, rural, 2 vocational technical schools, and 4 charter schools. So the program works, and it works in every type of high school that we have in Massachusetts. So over the last 4 years, what have I learned? I would tell you that really that there are 2 things that I've learned as we've gone about the work that we've done. And I'm not going to go through all the numbers right now, but to give you one that is in your packet, this past year our 45 schools accounted for over 2/3 of the increase from 2010 to 2011. These 45 schools accounted for over 2/3 of the increase in low-income qualifying scores in math, science, and English in the state of Massachusetts. And that's with over 350 public high schools, and at any given time, probably something like 300 schools reporting results in math, science, and English. So we are absolutely working at closing achievement gaps in rigorous courses for students of low income and students of color and all students in general. But back to the 2 things that I've learned as I've done this, and that is, one, that more students are capable of successfully doing high-quality work, rigorous work, and being successful in that endeavor. And that lesson is loud and clear. It's loud and clear in the numbers, and if you have an opportunity, these students behind me representing literally the over 11,000 enrollments that we have in the program this year. As a matter of fact, we should give these guys a round of applause because they're going to stand for them. And you're going to hear from some of them briefly, but I hope on the margins of what we're doing, and because the food was a little delayed, you need to stick around for the food. But as you enjoy your food at the end, you'll hopefully have a chance to talk to some of the students. Because what's really neat, the data, of course, is very compelling. But what's even more compelling are the stories of the teachers and their students behind the data. And we're fortunate to have these students with us representing the larger group, and we also have a group of students and teachers here. So I've learned that more students, so the way we phrase this is, we are not talking about the Casablanca strategy. We're not talking about rounding up the usual suspects and just having them take one more advanced course in math, science, or English. Instead, we're talking about democratizing access, breaking the paradigm, breaking down the barriers that have kept so many students from the opportunities that they deserve, and from a community and an economic standpoint that we need them to have if our future is to be secure. The second thing that I've learned is that it's all about partnerships. And as I look around the audience today, it's just, we wouldn't be here without partnerships. So first, to my parent organization, the Mass Insight, and Bill Gunther, thank you for taking the initiative back in 2007 to get this started. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to lead this endeavor. To the National Math and Science Initiative, and we'll hear from Rankin, the Chief Executive Officer, and to their primary sponsor, ExxonMobil. This would not be possible without the vision and without the resources provided by you and your supporters, and again, in particular, ExxonMobil. And it shows you the power of what the private sector can bring to what we're doing in public education. Because ultimately, this is about high-quality public education. And to our representatives, senators, and their staff, the hardworking staff that does a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, thank you so much. We are in the FY12 budget, and we're in the FY12 budget because the legislators here have taken a hard look at what we're doing and said, this works, let's support it. And what I would tell you is that I've got 20 schools lined up that want in, and so we could go from 53 schools to 70 schools or more if the interest and the support is there, the interest is there. So the two things again, that more students can do better work, more rigorous work and be successful, and that it's about the partnerships involved. And I also want to acknowledge our corporate and foundation sponsors. Some of them are here today for joining us. And finally, before I turn it over to Representative Keenan, I want to acknowledge my superintendents, principals, and designated administrators and teachers that are here very quickly. I'll do the superintendents kind of just to give you a flavor of who's here. But Ann Bradshaw from Mashpee. Mashpee is a cohort 3 school. That means that they just finished their first year. Junith Scannell from Methuen, a second-year school, cohort 2. Brett Costigan from Quabog, thank you for coming the long way from out west. Paul Dakin from Revere. Sean O'Neill from Salem Academy, just to name a few. And we have principals, designated administrators, and teachers from other schools. I can't thank you enough for making the trip. And now let me turn the mic over to Representative John Keenan. And again, in terms of that partnership, we would not be here without him. We had tremendous success in Salem this year. Salem Academy had a significant increase. Salem High School, public high school, had the largest increase of our raw number increase of our 45 schools with 54 more scores. So a huge percentage increase. And with that, I give you Representative John Keenan.
Thank you, Mort. It's a pleasure to be here today. We work pretty hard throughout the budget week, and it's always great to come back and see the successes that we did have and the investments that we made. And I'm sure each and every one of the legislators here today with me would certainly agree that there's no more important investment that we make than in public education here in the Commonwealth. It's wonderful to hear the numbers at Salem High School. Whenever I start a speech in my hometown of Salem, I always mention that I am a proud product of Salem Public Schools. Back in the day as well, I took a couple of AP classes. I don't think I did as well as everybody behind me, but I tried my best. But it is wonderful, and I have to say, I want to thank Mort and certainly Mass Insight for taking on the challenge of this program and showing wonderful results before we really made such an investment that we did this past year. When Bill Gunther came to speak to me to see if we would sponsor the amendment, it was pretty clear to me in looking at the statistics that this is where we should put our money. And to that end, I want to thank also one of the lead sponsors, Representative Spiliotis from Danvers, and most importantly, Chairwoman Alice Peisch, who was the chairwoman of the Education Committee, who was more than happy to take on this issue on one of her priorities in the budget process. So without them, and certainly without Speaker DeLeo's support and Chairman Dempsey's support, this wouldn't have happened. And we're happy to be here today and celebrate with all of you, because really, public education is the biggest and most important investment that we make. I want to thank each and every one of the superintendents and the principals here today for taking on the challenge that has been offered to you. Most importantly, I want to thank all the students who have sort of reached outside their box and outside their limit, if you will, to sort of challenge themselves and take it a little bit higher. It's wonderful to actually meet the folks from Salem, a couple of the students, on what they plan on doing next year after they finish their AP courses this year. To hear what the Salem Academy is doing with having some 80%, I think, of their senior class is taking an advanced placement course is wonderful to hear. I have to say, you know, the president is supposed to address the country tonight to talk about turning the economy around. it is not possible to turn the economy around without the kids that I have behind me actually achieving in math and science as they go forward and being successful in their college careers. So no matter what he has to say tonight, it will not be possible without the hard work of the folks that I have before me today. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank Mass Insight. It is a wonderful program. It's great for us to go back. You know, we spend a lot of money in the budget. There's some $30 billion, I think, at the end of the day. But to actually go back and to say that we made an investment that made a difference like this, and we see the faces of the kids that are actually succeeding in our public schools, in the charter schools, it's just great for me to be here today and celebrate with all of you. And Marie St. Fleur is also here, former chair of the Education Committee, and I wanted to say welcome back. It's good to see her, and I know she had been a staunch advocate for a long time and continues in that venue today in her new capacity working for the mayor. So again, thank you all. Welcome back to the State House, and I look forward to working with you as we go forward to increase this wonderful program. I want to introduce to you Fallon Burke, who's going to come from the Salem Academy and be one of the first students to speak to you today. So again, thank you and congratulations. Most importantly, congratulations to the students.
Good afternoon. My name is Fallon Burke, and I'm a member of Salem Academy's 2012 graduating class. I am proud to present that my qualifying score on the AP Calculus exam has contributed to the Massachusetts Math and Science Initiative, increasing the passing rate on AP and Math and Science courses by 94%. That's 4 times the state average. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Santana, and I'm a member of the South High class of 2012. I'm proud to announce that my qualifying scores on the AP Statistics and AP English Language exams have contributed to the Math and Science Initiative to increase the passing rate of African American and Hispanic students in the AP Math, Science, and English exams by 145%.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josie Valson, and I am a proud member of the John D. O'Brien School of Mathematics and Science class of 2012. I'm proud to announce that my qualifying scores in AP Chemistry and AP English to the Math and Science Initiative, increasing the passing rate for all MMSI students on AP Math, Science, and English exams by 83%. Almost 6 times the state average.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Gunther, President of Mass Insight Education, and I'd like to start by asking all of you to give another round of applause, not only for Fallon, Christopher, and Josie, and their teachers and administrators in Salem, Worcester, and Boston, but for all the teachers and administrators across the state who are supporting close to 7,000 students in AP Math, Science, and English courses in over 50 high schools. We like to think of this as a performance partnership, as Mort said, and one where the schools, the teachers and administrators do the hard work, but we provide support from the outside based on a multifaceted program. None of this would happen without the extraordinary leadership of Mort Orlov, our president for this initiative, and his dedicated staff who are here today. So let's give them a round of applause. Our partnership with the administration in the state started 4 years ago when we competed for the program. It took a major step forward this summer. We were one of 6 programs singled out by the Governor's STEM Council for performance and statewide impact and encouragement for funding. So I'd like to thank the administration for their support. But again, it was legislative leadership that led to the initial door opener of funding this year from the state budget. And my good friend, Representative John Keenan, who I remember when he was a young volunteer on Neil Harrington's mayoral campaigns in the 90s, and who's grown up to be a true leader in the state, joined by Chairman Alice Hanlon Peisch over here from the Education Committee, another great leader in the House, Representative Ted Speliotis, Representative Todd Smolak, I think, is here as well from Palmer, and a host of other legislators in the Senate and House. One of the things that's obvious to us is this program speaks for itself. And the fact that we are in the range of communities that Mort mentioned means that a lot of legislators are getting firsthand knowledge. And we particularly appreciate the educators who are reaching out and speaking to legislators and telling them about the results. I also particularly, I have another very old friend here who's been particularly helpful in the legislature. That's Tom Moreau from Speaker DeLeo's office. Tom, where are you? Never wants to be recognized. But just a terrific policy maker in the legislature. There are several others from the administration. I think Dave Cedrone and Keith Connors from the Governor's STEM Operations and the Department of Higher Education are here, and I want to thank them, representatives of the College Board, and there's a special municipal team from Mashpee, so let's give them a round of applause. And finally in this group, I do want to recognize another old friend that John also singled out, and that's Marie St. Fleur, serving now in a particularly significant role in the city of Boston with the mayor reaching out to communities, organizing community support. She sits on our executive board for this initiative. She was an extraordinary House chair in a very difficult period and an outstanding leader in the introduction of the standards effort that's made Massachusetts #1 in the country. So I really particularly want to single out Marie. Thank you. As I mentioned, 4 years ago, in the spring, actually, of 2007, we competed with 28 other states for a $13.2 million 5-year privately funded national grant to introduce this program. We were one of 6 states selected for the program. There are 5 other states that are marching along with us and also achieving significant results that you will hear about in a moment. At that point, we made a commitment with the administration and with legislative leaders, business leaders, and school leaders here in the state to close achievement gaps and to make this state #1 in the nation in math and science education. Critical for the individuals, for the students, but also critical for our workforce and economic development here in the state, because that's what businesses are looking for. And worth noting that it's not just the technology businesses. The State Streets and the Fidelities and the financial service businesses want new employees with math skills, and they're having a hard time finding those employees. So these students here and the others who are going through your schools, are going to feed the prosperity of the future. And that's why this is both an education and an economic development initiative. I want to spend one moment on funding, which has been mentioned, and we do want to particularly thank the legislature for their endorsement this year. The national grant, $13.2 million, required fundraising within the state. We will raise about $2 million this year with some state funds now, but primarily with private funds. The national grant is a venture capital investment. It rises, and we are at peak funding now, and then it starts to drop. Because the assumption of the national organization was that each of the 6 states would prove success, demonstrate to their legislators and their private sector leaders that this program works, and basically pick up the program at the state level. So our challenge now is not just, as Mort said, to fund the expansion into additional high schools, but it's to pick up this program over the next several years at about a $6 million level, which is pretty short investment for the kind of results we're getting. So we presume $4 million of that ultimately will come from state funding, and we'll edge toward that, we hope, over the next several years. And $2 million will continue to come from private funding, our foundations and corporate partners. And I want to add to Mort's endorsement and thanks to our corporate partners and foundations for their incredible support. The group that made all this possible is the National Math and Science Initiative, an extraordinary organization that was set up to replicate a successful 10-year program in Texas. It's based in Texas. It's their funding and ExxonMobil as the lead funder that made all this possible. And I'd like to congratulate Dr. Marianne Rankin for her new role as CEO of this organization and introduce her.
Well, thank you, Bill. It's such an honor to be here this morning. This is one of the first ceremonial things I've done as CEO, and I'm walking in here taking credit, kind of, for things that Tom Luce, the CEO that I succeed, really put in place. But it is such an honor to be here, and such an honor to have Massachusetts as one of our partner states. This is a fantastic celebration of achievement for Massachusetts and for MMSI nationally, and I just want to say congratulations to all of you students, those of you who are here representing the 7,000 plus students in the state, and congratulations to the students across the country who have achieved such wonderful results, and to the teachers who helped them achieve these results, and to the parents who undoubtedly also helped get the homework done and whatever else. It's fabulous. And I want to echo what Mort said. Those of you who are funders, I want to say thank you for what you've done to support this program. If any of you are potential funders, look at the return on investment here. It's really extraordinary. This is something the country needs desperately. This program changes students' lives, it changes schools. I think it probably even changes the teachers' lives, because it generates success, and success breeds more success. One of the most important things about this program, I think, is that it is an open enrollment program. That is, anybody can participate in AP courses that are put in place by this program. And in some cases, that means that students who never thought of themselves as being able to take an AP course or wanting to take it, and perhaps whose teachers never thought of them in that way, may now take it and do take it. And this will change their trajectory for their lives and change their vision of themselves, change their teachers' vision of these students. It transforms the future for them. And I think that's something we should all be very proud of and take very seriously. I want to say, my background is from higher education. I've been in higher education my whole career, first as a faculty member, then as a departmental chairman, and then as a dean for 17 years of a college of science. I can testify how important this kind of preparation is for achievement in science and math at the university level, at a major university, like the University of Texas, where I come from. And I also want to say thank you to the higher education partners in Massachusetts who participated in this, in the teacher training and in other ways, and to the Massachusetts Department of Higher Education for what you all have done to help put this program in place and sustain it. It's not every institution of higher ed that actually understands this connection and how important it is, and I appreciate what has been done here. Especially, I think the Worcester Polytechnic Institute was a big player in what has been achieved here, so thank you all. I want to say a particular thank you, as has been done already, but I want to say it again from the MMSI perspective, to ExxonMobil, our founding funder and partner in this effort. They have been not only huge contributors at the very beginning and as the program has gone forward, but they have been continuing to work with us in a variety of ways. Perhaps you saw the wonderful commercials that they developed for the Masters tournament and now continue to show on television every once in a while. This has been one of the most successful public relations campaigns that we've participated in, but it turns out it was also very successful for ExxonMobil. And the reason it was because it showed ExxonMobil's commitment to changing lives and to creating more opportunities for students in math and science, to achieve in math and science in a variety of ways, including to go into these fields perhaps as part of their own future. I think also the reason these ads were so successful is because they focused on students and teachers, and particularly students like these standing behind me, and their achievements and their stories. These kids all have stories, and I encourage you to spend some time afterwards and hear some of them, because I know they're important and wonderful. But again, I want to say thank you to ExxonMobil and to our other funders for what they've done. And now I think it's time to announce our national results, but you know, these are so big and so exciting and important that I can't do it alone. I have to have some students to help me. So I will just get out of the way here and say congratulations, and let's hear what these national results are from some people who participated in them.
Hi, and thank you. My name is Stephanie Plumber, and I'm a member of the Mashpee High School class of 2012. I'm proud to announce that my qualifying scores contributed to the National Math and Science Initiative, increasing the passing rate for female students on AP Math and Science exams by 144%. That's 7 times the national average. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katisha Belgard. I am a member of Methuen High School class of 2012. I am proud to announce that my qualifying scores contributed to the National Math and Science Initiative, more than doubling the passing rate for African American and Hispanic students on AP Math, Science, and English exams, with an increase by 216%. More than 4 times the national average.
My name is David Smith, and I'm a member of the Palmer High School class of 2012. I'm proud to announce that my qualifying scores contributed to the National Math and Science Initiative, increasing the passing rate for all MMSI students on AP Math, Science, and English exams by 124%. That's 6 times the national average.
You guys hanging in there? Yeah. Hey, everybody bend your knees, right? Rock a little bit. There we go. Okay. Can't have anybody falling out on us. So I'm going to wrap it up here this afternoon, but again, thank you for everyone for attending, and I encourage everyone to stick around because we've got food over here. You have to say hello to our students, and but a couple of stories to close out and acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge Senator Baddour, a great supporter. One of the schools in his footprint that's in our footprint is Methuen High School. When we looked at Methuen to consider their entry into the program, they had, and this is in 08-09, they had 58 enrollments in math, science, and English. Joe, how many do they have as we open school this year? Over 550. Over 550. That's change. I want to acknowledge Representative Ferguson. We have a school in his footprint as well, one of our new schools from Cohort 4. This will be their first year in the program. That's Wachusett Regional High School. So, Representative Ferguson, thank you for joining us. And we have Counselor Tito Jackson here. I know he's heard from me before, but one of the things that I didn't know then that I know today, this was the first year, we just finished the first year for 5 new high schools in Boston in the program, new meaning that was ended their first year in May 11 or June 11. The O'Brien School has been with us from the beginning, so O'Brien has done very well over the 3 years. But let me talk about these 5 non-exam schools. In their first year in the program, they had a 115% increase in qualifying scores. So we're very thrilled with those results. Yeah. And then finally, one last story here because I think it deserves mention, and because it helps capture the essence of this. I have several teachers here, though not too many teachers. We didn't want to pull a lot of folks out of the classroom. One of the teachers here today is Joe Nystrom. Joe was our Teacher of the Year for mathematics. Joe's right here. Joe, would you wave your hand at least so people can see where you are? So let me tell you why they're yelling. When we looked at South Community High School in Worcester, the AP Statistics course at that time had an enrollment of 12 students, and they got 6 qualifying scores. So 12 students, 6 qualifying scores, which actually, for an urban high school, is not too bad. But this year that just finished, Joe had 43 qualifying scores, okay? 43 qualifying scores, and that's with about 60 kids enrolled. And what's amazing about it is that 15 of those scores were 5s, the highest score. So in 2 years, they had as many of the top score as he had enrolled 2 years prior. And this year, what's your enrollment this year, Joe? 96 students enrolled in AP Statistics. I would also point out that he had, in that group, he had 31 low-income qualifying scores. So when you wonder how we move the numbers, it happens in individual classrooms with individual teachers like Joe and students like this every day for 180 days or so making it happen. And we couldn't, again, make it happen without all the great partners, in particular the National Math and Science Initiative. And so, again, I want to thank you all for being here. Congratulations to all our schools in the program, to our teachers, designated administrators, principals, superintendents, and most importantly, to our students. Thank you very much for joining us today.